here we are at the end. And many of us are still here. Hooray! Yes, applause for all of us, of course. So I have some thank yous, and I have some things that aren't thank yous as well. So please don't just do the thing where people start putting on their coats, going out the door. I will be talking for a little while. But there is a good surprise at the end for the people in the room. Sorry, Zoom folks. Okay, so we hope you've had a good couple of days and connected or reconnected with colleagues. We hope you've learned some things, had some ideas sparking. I want to give a big thank you to all of our speakers, our in-person speakers, our remote speakers, our pre-recorded speakers, our keynote speakers, one of whom is still here, hooray. It's not a conference without you, obviously. So we really thank you for sharing your time and your thoughts with all of us. So speakers. Trying to make eye contact with some speakers. I also want to thank the organizers and the many, many volunteers from the Codrum Library and from the U of O Library who have done a ton of work over the past, I don't want to think how many months. There are too many folks to mention, and a lot of them aren't in the room, so I won't do that. But I do want to thank our core group of Jen Whitney, Sarah Simkin, Cameron Metcalf, Joelle Rivard for organizing, and also a special shout out to Alistair McRae, who did some great work with our OJS support early on in the call for proposals. So really want to thank them. Sure, okay, what? Hooray! A final thank you to our sponsors. So again, platinum level sponsor, Carleton University Library, gold level sponsors, EBSCO and the University of Ottawa Library, silver level sponsors, Clarivate, who helped contribute to technology costs, and OCLC, who helped contribute toward the Dave Binkley Memorial Lecture. We really appreciate all their contributions, so thank you to them. Sure, we'll applaud them. Why not? The organizing team wanted to take a little bit of a moment to have a bit of a conference debrief about this first hybrid access. Although, as I mentioned yesterday, access has always been a little bit hybrid, but we're like amped up hybrid this year. We're so happy that people were able to join us in the way that they were most comfortable with. And folks were able to change from in-person to remote at the last minute because of travel snafus, because of COVID, because of other issues that came up. And we were really glad to be able to make those accommodations. However, we do want to be very transparent that having a hybrid event like this is a lot more work and a lot more money than a normal in-person conference. And having, particularly we found the extra expense and extra work with having remote speakers. It's why we have so many extra people in the room. And I do, at this point, again, major thanks to the Carleton event support team, Colin, Mike, John, Jill, and Patrick. They were fantastic through the planning process. They've been fantastic the past few days. They've made this a much calmer experience than it would have been without them. We haven't had to worry at all. And so please, giant thanks for that team. But it is that extra bit of work that isn't there when we just have the live stream. So Access has always had the live stream, and it's marvelous because people can watch from wherever. They don't have to travel. They don't have to do whatever. They can watch the show. But that is more like that's mics and that's cameras. It's not patching in someone from Zoom and deciding what screen gets shown to what screen and when and where and how and who do you show to what and all of that, which is a lot of work that's happening and that we aren't seeing, mostly because it's very much outside the room. But a bunch of people out there. So it obviously has an extra expense, and it is an extra bit of hoo-ha in terms of organizing, not to, devolve into technical jargon. So, the Access Conference is not any entity or any particular thing. It's this marvelous, loosely connected community that comes together once a year, in person, virtually, however the conference happens. That is, whatever the conference is what the conference is kind of a weird tautology, but also very true. And so what is it going forward? What is the Access Conference? Is it this hybrid thing? Is it an in-person thing? Is it something different every other year? Like, what is it gonna be? And it's strange to not have a body that decides that. Like, we get to decide that. So we wanted you to take some time and kind of think about that a little bit. I also wanted, some of you will remember a few years ago, Peter Binkley did a presentation talking about, this was pre-COVID, right? Talking about the environmental costs of conference attendance. So people fly, especially in Canada, right? We're so enormous. People flying from all over the place. This year we have people flying in from Slovakia. They're not here, but it's amazing. I don't mean to throw that in the environmental section of that thing, but just conference attendance. Lawrence coming to us from LA, amazing. Also, like, is that something we want to have happen? I think yes, because I love seeing Lawrence. But, as a community, is that a thing? Do we want to have little, what do you call it? Like hub and spoke kind of model? So much overhead, so much work for so many more people all across the country is my thought, but that's just me. So what do we want as a collective? So, giant preamble 2. We're going to send you a survey. But please remember this impassioned speech when you're filling out your survey. And it's not going to be just there are some ticks that will be pretty easy. But we do want you to think, we want you to reflect a little bit when you fill that out. So we're going to send it to all our in-person attendees. We'll send it to all our remote attendees. We'll put the link in our Twitter so our live stream people can see it too and respond. And we'll be very interested, the organizers this year, to see, what you were thinking, how it all went. But also, we're not doing it next year. So it's good for us to know, but we will pass that on to the next people who take on the conference so that they can create whatever they think is best, whatever they think they can manage as well, right? But we would love to be able to put your feedback forward to them. Which brings me to my second last point, which is we don't yet have organizers for Access 2023. But we do, twist, have some volunteers for 2024. So, we hope someone comes forward with interest for next year. Get in touch with us at the Access email, or talk to one of us afterwards if you're really keen. And then, that will happen. If nobody comes forward, the next Access will be in 2024. So, it's good. That's good that we have we have a little back pocket for that, but just to be very, if nobody comes forward, we will next convene in 2 years. So lots of things to think about. Do I want to host Access? Of course you do. It's amazing. And what do we want that to look like? So you kind of have homework going home from the conference, which is on top of all of the great ideas and things and notes that you've made and links you have to look up and things you have to learn and all that stuff. So to give you a little bit of energy, we have some local award-winning tiny chocolate bars that you can take on your way out for a little boost of energy for the afternoon, and to say a thank you to our in-person people for making the effort and making the trip and being here with us the past couple of days. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy.